With us now, the Louisiana Attorney General, Jeff Landry, who joins us on the phone. Mr. Attorney General, thank you for taking the time. How are things looking there in Louisiana? There were real serious concerns about floods and the rains that were coming that could compromise levees. And any of that happen?
No, well, we had a number of, probably a couple of hundred homes or so that flooded in the southwestern portion of the state. And, of course, we had some coastal flooding due to the extreme south winds and the additional rainfall. But it looks like, for the most part, Louisiana, certainly in comparison to what East Texas got, has been lucky this time. We, unfortunately, just almost a year ago today, we had the historical flooding that occurred on both sides of the Mississippi River, which dumped extreme amounts of rain and flooded some 65,000 plus homes in Louisiana. So far, it's been good, which is great because it's given us an opportunity to certainly help our neighbor, Texas, who needs it. I know that a lot of the people who are being displaced in southeast Texas, we're now going to make available for them to be able to come to Louisiana. We're going to be able to make assets that we have that we may have needed if we would have gotten an extreme flood event available in Texas, and do everything we can to help our neighbor in this time of need.
Yeah, well, you're doing that in spades, and so my hat's off to you and the governor and everyone in Louisiana, and that Cajun Navy as well. I'm reminded of these floods, Attorney General, and how massive they were. I suspect there's little you can do levee-wise, bayou-wise, to deal with something like that. It's sort of like saying preparing for an earthquake of severity not measured before. So how do you deal with that, and what do you do to get your people prepared for the possibility of floods, even a fraction of this magnitude?
Well, I think one of the first things we can do to offset some of the impact of these kinds of floods is to improve our drainage. Over the last couple of decades, we've seen the Corps of Engineers be a little bit restrictive, not just a little, but a lot, in a way of restricting from a permit standpoint on how we dig out our bayous and drainages and issues such as that. We had that problem last year when there was a huge diversion project in Louisiana that seemed to have been held up for 20 years, mostly because the Corps of Engineers can't get their act together, or there's some environmental impact study that we have to study for 100 years, and so we'll have to flood 2 times before we get that project in place. But you're right, certainly the amounts of rainfall that you saw in East Texas, even the best prepared state or system will not be able to handle that type of rainfall. But look, I got to tell you, my hat's off to this administration, to Governor Abbott, and the elected officials all throughout Texas. They're very determined, decision-making oriented officials that just make a decision, and they're making the right decisions. The administration you've seen from FEMA on down, you saw Administrator Scott Pruitt enact some waivers along the Colonial Pipeline to help ease the spike in gasoline because of the refining capacity that's located on the coast. So I got to tell you, it's like night and day when you see a president that's been in business before and knows what it means to have to make decisions on the spot.